Alright, so what we're going through here, if you can move that laptop to where we can both see it good. What we're going through here is how to connect to a city multi-system and perform tests. Basically, we're going to run the system full blast for like 10-15 minutes just to see how it's running. So the first thing you have to do is get your maintenance tool attached to the Mnet. That's going to be your communication wires attached to TB2 on the control box beside the central controller. Your alligator clips will go to the Mnet. Your USB A to B cable will go into the back of the computer on a USB port or wherever you have a USB port. The first thing you need to do is click the Windows search bar and type Device Manager. Hit enter. Once you go into Device Manager, you're going to go to, let's see, you're going to go to ports, COM and LPT. USB serial device is on COM 6. So that means that you have something plugged in there. Doesn't tell you precisely what it is, but you know you have something plugged into COM 6 on your USB port. So we'll just remember that. You can close both those windows. And now go ahead and open up Maintenance Tool. It's right here. You're going to have to put your password in, which is at the bottom of the name and password on the sticky note. You're going to need a capital A as well. I believe the C is also capitalized at the end. Let's try it again. Capital P, @ symbol, SS, lowercase, capital L, capital A, 0.07. You used a / instead of a backslash. So you need to hit no?
Yeah.
Yep. Did it go back in? This is just some horse shit that comes with our third-party software. We don't have admin privileges. It needs to be a backslash. There you go. Capital L, capital A, D-I-M, or D-M in admin, yep, capital A, Adam, capital C, capital P, @ symbol, capital L, capital A, 0907. There it goes. Okay, now at the top two boxes there, you've got two drop-down menus. One is for the type of maintenance tool you're using. Now that one is already set to, drop it down real quick just so we can see. Drop this one down. There are many different types of maintenance tools. It's got PAC, US CMS already chosen. You need to look at the maintenance tool you're using. If it's David's, it'll be an older version, but this one is the PAC, and that's what you've got, so you choose that. And you know that we already looked in Device Manager and confirmed that it's plugged into the computer at the USB port COM 6. If you had a file that you wanted to pull up to analyze, we'd go to offline analysis, right? But we're actually going to connect to the system itself, so we're going to use the MN converter. We know our COM port, and we know the version of maintenance tool we're using, you go ahead and click select. And it'll start pulling up. Those are two different ways to find all of your units that are in the building that have an address. I've never used manual. I always just use auto. So go ahead and click auto. And what it's going to do is it's going to run through every possible address in the system from 0 all the way up to 253. This system has 4 different city multi systems all on one network, all on one MNet. And therefore it's going to take forever to search for the addresses. The indoor units addresses always start with 01 or 001. The outdoor unit generally starts at, their addresses start at 50. But you'll have multiple outdoor units addressed, and they'll be in the 50s, the 60s, maybe even up into the hundreds, because there's 4 different systems. If there's only one outdoor unit, chances are they used address 50 for the outdoor unit and 51 for the branch controller. The branch controller is where the outdoor unit sends all its refrigerant to, and then it gets dispersed to all the indoor units from there. If you have a heat pump, there will be no branch controller. It's just either straight heat or straight cool. We're going to try to attach to one of the R2 units, which does have reheat, and so there will be a branch box, and you'll be able to see that when they come up. Now I believe what's going on here, do you see how some of these, this IC stands for indoor coil, some of them are green and some of them are gray? Yeah. I believe the gray ones are inactive.
No, that are inactive.
The green ones I believe are running, the gray ones are inactive. Don't quote me on that, I'm not sure. And it's going to take quite a while to populate because there are so many units on the system. Now once this address searching is done, you'll be able to hover your mouse over any of these units, and down in this box it will show you where on the layout it is. And so we're going to hover our mouse over individual outdoor units, and we're going to see what indoor units are connected to it. Okay. In order to perform test mode on one of these units, essentially running it in full blast, so that you could extrapolate how well it's running from the data that you see, you have to monitor and then drive operation of an outdoor unit. When you see an outdoor unit, it'll be denoted as OC. If it has a follower, so this is the leader unit, this is a follower, and this is a branch controller. But now you see we got another outdoor unit popped up. So one thing you want to be careful of is that you don't cancel an automatic search, because a lot of times you might get to 54 and then it starts searching real fast because it's not finding anything. You go ahead and cancel it and you don't even know that there's 3 or 4 more outdoor units out there.
They always get through.
It's time consuming, but I would recommend letting those numbers run all the way out to 250 if you're not sure, because it's all based upon whoever installed it. If they wanted to, they could have made the address of the outdoor unit 212 if they wanted to. Now what it's picking up now are the remote controllers, essentially the thermostats that are tied to each one of those indoor coils. Now some of these indoor units are going to be ceiling cassettes. They could be normal evaporator heads, like on a mini split, or they could be a ducted fan coil, basically an air handler above the ceiling that's got ducts coming in and out of it. They're the ones that I changed the pleated filters on while you were pulling the mesh filters out of the cassettes.
Okay.
Do you see how the addresses are, it's running through the addresses rapidly now? Whenever there's nothing at that address, it'll skip right over it really fast. Once it sees that there's something there, it takes a moment for it to pull it up. So the fact that it's going really fast now, I believe it's safe to assume that we've run through the entire system. But at this point, we've got, what, 53 seconds left, so we're just going to let it run through. Better safe than sorry. But as you can see down here, it's pulled up one of these outdoor units. And you'll see here in a second, it'll show the branch box, the indoor coils, and the remotes that control them. And those are essentially just thermostats. Okay, so just hover over address 51. It shows that at address 51, you've got an outdoor leader, an outdoor follower tied to it, and they're piped in parallel. Their two pipes come into a branch controller. And then that branch, I don't know if you've seen one or not, but it's a small box, like 2 foot by 2 foot by, 10 inches or something, right?
Yeah.
And that joker has got line sets coming out of it, up to 16 line sets. And so on this one here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 line sets coming off of it. If you choose this one right here, you may find it does have a branch controller. Try this OC right here that's inactive. Now, do you see how there's no branch controller here?
Yeah.
That's not a heat recovery system. That is a straight heat pump. So it can either heat or cool. And these two fan coils right here are ducted fan coils in the ceiling that supply air to the gym. We're not going to fool with that one right now. We're going to pick one of these OCs. This one's got 12 different units on it. They're probably all ceiling cassettes. One of them could be a fan coil. I believe if you hover your mouse over this, well, here, this one has a branch controller. If you hover your mouse over here, or if you click on one of these, maybe it's not letting me, but I will tell you this: if you come up here and highlight one of these indoor coils, it should tell you, well, it doesn't tell you the model or serial. It's not really giving you anything. I'll tell you what, first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick a system to run the test mode on. Hover your mouse over the OC first, or that one will work. So you hover your mouse over that, you see that you've got 2 outdoor units. Go back up to this one for a second, just leave your mouse there. You got 2 outdoor units, branch controller, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 indoor units. Let's go ahead and monitor that system. So you're going to click monitor, then you're going to click the outdoor unit, the leader of the outdoor units that you're choosing, the OC, and then you go down to confirm. And what this is going to do is immediately start recording all the information that you see on this unit minute by minute, and that will show up in the upper right hand corner of the screen. You could scroll through the minutes of operation and see what it was doing 5 minutes ago, but from my experience, when you do that, you won't be able to get to the most current minute anymore. You'll have to keep, every time a new minute rolls over, you'll have to keep clicking over and over and over. So I would stay away from that until you get a little bit more comfortable with troubleshooting them. This window here is your outdoor leader. See, it says OC. This is your outdoor follower unit that's tied to it. And grab the bar on the far right and scroll down. There you go. This here is your branch controller. It shows you the solenoid positions. So each one of those line sets that comes out of there has 3 solenoids on it that are allowing the refrigerant flow. And these 1s and 0s let you know whether they're open or closed. We'll get into that later. The bottom box is all your indoor units, and it shows you their addresses on the left. Right now it shows that some of them are in heating off, some are in cooling off. It'll tell you the TH1 is, now check this out, hover your mouse over TH1 and do a left click. That's a right click, do a left click. It'll pop up, it'll tell you what the value is, thermistor, room temperature. So that's telling you the return air temperature. Click on TH2. that's telling you that it's the liquid pipe temperature. Now, because these are capable of heating and cooling, you have a liquid pipe, a liquid line, and you have a vapor line. That can be discharge gas, or it could be superheated vapor in cooling mode. Now click TH3, it should say gas temp. That's gas pipe temp. All right, now that we've got this thing pulled up, we want to run it in test mode. So we're going to go up to drive operation at the top.
Where's that?
It's right here. And you're going to go to IC for indoor coil. Now, do you see the address numbers on each one of these units? It looks like we got 21 through 28.
Yeah.
You need to remember that. And it may show you when the window pops up. Because you can set all, but it'll cause every unit on the entire system to start doing what you're asking for. The first thing we're going to do is set selected addresses. Now, there may be a scroll down menu on this window right here. There was not, but if there is, you need to scroll down and find the entire list of addresses.
Make sure.
So you need to highlight on that list 021 all the way through 028. There you go. Those are all the indoor units that are tied to this outdoor unit. I believe, and there may be another way you could do it, but I think you can only control one outdoor system at a time, one condensing unit system. Once you've got your addresses selected, you need to check the on-off button, and you need to put it in test run. Check the mode button, put it in cool. You don't need to worry about the temperature because it's just going to run full cooling. Click the fan, and it always needs to be on high. And then transmit. And it'll say batch operate indoor units 21 through 28. Now it's going to start going. One thing you need to make sure you do after we run a test on this system is that you go back to drive operation and reset all those units to operation. What do you think will happen if you don't do that? They're going to keep running in cool, full cool. They'll never stop. Now, the occupants may have thermostats or remote controllers that have their adjustability locked out. And if they're locked out and they can't mess with them, right, then they're going to start getting cold and go in there and try to, they're going to try to turn their temperature back up, and they won't be able to. Sometimes those things are unlocked. All right, so once that went through, go ahead and close that window. Now, can you see up here how many minutes we've been monitoring this system? So we've been monitoring it for 3 minutes, but now we're about to go into full test mode. One way you'll know that that outdoor unit is running, if you click on IU right there, left click on that. What does it say that is?
Phase U current.
Phase U current. So that's the current of the compressor in the outdoor follower OS. Scroll back up, see what the leader unit's doing. It's not pulling any amps right now on the compressor. See how it's off?
Yep.
But the follower is on ordinary. One thing I like to do is highlight the values that I want to see. So since this unit is running, you're going to click on the actual value, not the name of the sensor. So 63HS1, that's your high pressure. That'll highlight it. That'll allow you to look at it faster when you got a lot of shit here to look at, right? Highlight 63LS, that's your low pressure. Okay, now you want your saturation temperatures that correlate to those pressures. TC is the temperature of the condenser. That's your saturation temperature on the high side. TE is your saturation temperature of the evaporator. One other thing I like to look at, go ahead and click on IU so you can see the amp draw of that compressor. You want to click on the actual value, not the box. When you click on the box, it tells you the information about what that value is. And then do the same thing for this leader unit. Okay. All right, now scroll down here. The main thing that you and Noah are going to look for when you're running a test is how well the indoor units are cooling. There's a lot of wazoo shit going on up here that you don't know how to interpret yet, and it's beyond the scope of what we're doing. But what we want to look at, unclick that one. I want you, so these are your return air temps. It's pretty cool in there, isn't it? I want you to highlight all the liquid pipes, all the vapor pipes, and the superheat subcool column. Those are your return air temps. So we don't want those. What we want are the liquid pipes, the vapor pipes, and the superheat subcool. If it's in heating mode, this value will be subcooling. If it's in cooling mode, this value will be superheat. What you want to see is superheat in cooling mode. You want to see superheat values between 0 and 10 degrees. Now, because this liquid pipe temperature, it's not the temperature of a liquid pipe that you're used to seeing. Usually the liquid is what comes right out of the condenser, correct? This liquid pipe is after the metering device.
Yeah.
Before it has evaporated, so it's at saturation temperature. So you know that your refrigerant is evaporating in unit 21. It's evaporating at 58 degrees. You want to see in cooling mode saturation temperatures, TH2 values of between 35 and 50. And then you want TH3 values that are 0 to 10 degrees higher than that. If you see negative values, that means your sensors are off a little bit. But right now it shows us that every one of these, that click on OF real quick and see what it says that means. That means operation on/off. Now you see how they're all reading test right now?
Yep.
They're all reading cooling. And did you see how those went from standby to on? And this one's still in standby? They are now all in cool mode except for that one, and they're all with a high fan speed. Now, when we started our tests, we were at minute 3 of 3, and now we're at 8 of 8. So we've been in the test mode now for 8 minutes.
5 minutes.
That's true, 5 minutes. My math's a little bad. So how about our superheat values? Are they all around 0 to 10?
Yeah, except for that
If you
one.
see values in the 20s, that would be cause for concern. However, these units take a while to really get going and run the way they're supposed to. Nothing is fast with VRF, so if you see something out of the ordinary, it needs to stay out of the ordinary for a while before you can say that something's going on. Now, one other thing you can do while you're performing this test is you can click up here on refrigerant circuit diagram. This is going to tell you how the refrigerant's flowing visually. So instead of looking at a bunch of data, you could actually see what's happening. You've got a compressor right here with a discharge temperature TH4 of 154 degrees. These are your, they call them heat exchangers, but right now this is your outdoor coil. They call them heat exchangers. So you're sending hot gas out of your compressor. It's going through a reversing valve here, a 4-way valve. It's coming down here. Looks like it's taking a turn here and going through a solenoid valve 7, coming down here, going through some more solenoids, and then going into these heat exchangers at 86 degrees. Then it's coming out. It's going down here. It's coming out of the unit, and then right here it's going into your branch controller. These two are subcoolers, so they're taking this let's see, so right here would be a gas. Right time it gets to here, it's a liquid. That liquid comes in here. These units operate a little funky, man. They send vapor and liquid down this one pipe, and then this is a liquid vapor separator. So gas would go out this way to heat, and all the liquid is actually right now falling and going through these subcoolers, and it's subcooling that liquid so that by the time it goes through a metering device, it's already been chilled, so that when it comes out in the fan coil, it's like super cold. Scroll this bar over a little bit and look past the branch controller, and you can see all the indoor coils in here. Here's an indoor coil, there's an indoor coil, there's an indoor coil. What you see here is liquid refrigerant. It's not flowing on that one unit. That's the one that's still in standby. But let's look at this one. You got liquid refrigerant coming in, going through a metering device. You see how it says LI?
Mm-hmm.
That is linear expansion valve. That's an LEV. It's just an electronic expansion valve, but it's at 249 pulses. I believe that 480 is wide open and 41 is fully closed. And so it's about midway right now. And it's metering that refrigerant in, and the second that it becomes an aerosol refrigerant, it's 47 degrees. That's between 35 and 50, so that's good. By the time it goes through there and evaporates, it's gained, what, 3 degrees of superheat? Mm-hmm. So that one's working properly. Let's go back to operational data. We've now been in the test mode for, what, 8 minutes?
Yep.
We've got superheat values that are all within our range of 0 to 10 degrees superheat. This is basically all that you all need to know in order to perform a test on a system. So what I want you to do now is go back to drive operation, indoor coil.
Let me see if I know.
Set selected addresses, 21 through 28. This is probably the most important thing that you all need to be able to do, is to put these things back into operation when you're done so that they don't continue to run in test mode. I would put each one in mode auto, and that means that they're gonna cool above 72 degrees and heat below 67.
Man.
I'd go ahead and leave it in high and then transmit. Everything looks good to me. Batch operate 21 to 28.
And there's no error codes?
I have not seen any error codes. You know, the owner called and said that they were...
Could it have been from the filter?
No, it would not have been from that. The error codes will show up, if you do have any error codes, they'll show up as a yellow triangle, I believe, right here with an exclamation point.
Yeah.
And you can click on them and it'll give you a brief description of what it is, but you'll probably have to Google it or go to MyLink Drive to find out specifically what it means. If you ever go out to do a PM and you find error codes, you need to take a screenshot of them with your phone and text them to me, and we'll go from there. So you've already transmitted it?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and close that out. Now, before you get out of this screen, I want you to visually confirm that these things come out of test mode.
Okay.
So we're in minute 12 of 12. By the time we get to 13 of 13, they're now in operating mode. You know you've switched them all back. Now here's another important thing. You're still monitoring that one outdoor unit and all of its indoor units, right?
Unmonitor it.
Do what?
Unmonitor it.
Well, we're gonna jump out. We're in monitor mode right now.
Yeah,
We performed a test while in monitor mode, but we're gonna hit return right here, and you're gonna finish the status monitor, and it's gonna ask you if you want to save the information. You definitely want to save the information, because if there was something funky going on, then I can go back in the offline mode and analyze the data. So hit the right arrow button. Always leave this information here because there's a timestamp in there, but come out here beside it.
Beside it?
Yep, right there beside it. Type in, I don't want to say the name of the business on the video, so just put in school.
I got something for you. I won't give it away.
You can't put in fancy characters, just type in school. No, don't put the name in there. Oh, there you go, that'll work.
Yeah, okay.
All right, go ahead and hit save. And that's it. And now you're back in the initial screen where it shows you all the units. Now, if you wanted to test, if you wanted to monitor another one, you could, but we don't have any error codes, and we're not, you know, we can't troubleshoot something that doesn't exist at this moment.
Yeah.
So go ahead and hit file and return.
Don't save it.
No, we've already saved our monitor mode. And that's it. That's all you got to do. Now, if you were to see something that you thought was crazy,
We'll call you.
You would save it, and then I would be able to get that file from you, and I would import it into my maintenance tool, and I would pull it up, and I'd look through all the data. I can look at the refrigeration diagram. I can look at the data minute by minute, and you know, it won't be too long before we get you guys trained up on how to interpret all those different values. But that's pretty much it. The last thing you'll have to do is disconnect your maintenance tool from the control board over there. Sure. And pack it up, and that's all there is to it.